Hey everyone, welcome to Wisdom Wednesdays. I'm just working on dinner, so I thought we would chat a little bit. So if you hear the clicking of my knife, I'm cutting up some Brussels sprouts. I'm going to roast them in the oven in some bacon grease and salt and pepper, and we're going to have that with a gluten-free meatloaf and some, let's see, what else are we having? Oh, roasted butternut squash. So I'm excited. It's going to be a yummy dinner. But anyway, I wanted to talk to you guys today a little bit about being gluten-free, going gluten-free, some gluten-free products, and my thoughts on being gluten-free. Not all of you are gluten-free, but I do know that some of you have figured out that gluten causes some kind of reaction in your body. And so I wanted to explain that a little bit and kind of speak into that. So gluten is the protein in wheat, and it is the kind of the gelatinous, gummy binding agent in wheat. It is what makes wheat bread oh so spongy and moist and delicious. And if you've tasted gluten-free bread, most of them are pretty subpar when it comes to spongy deliciousness. You just really can't replace that flavor or that texture. However, that sponginess and that kind of sticky texture that makes bread awesome is what goes into your gut and sticks to your gut lining. So then, as it sticks to your gut lining over time, it starts to injure the lining because it's not moving all the way through. And so then your gut lining starts to get little micro holes in it. And so if you've ever heard of like IBS or leaky gut, that can be one of the causes. And then once your gut is leaking, or you get those little holes in there, then teeny tiny food particles slip out, and that's where you start to get the inflammatory response. And so gluten is one of those things that nope, not everybody needs to be gluten-free, and not everybody has a reaction to gluten. However, similar to dairy, 70% of people are sensitive to dairy and they don't even know it. Because their reaction isn't what they would expect. And the same is with gluten. So gluten is very inflammatory for a lot of people, but because it's not always digestive distress, people don't make the connection. You can have a gluten sensitivity and your reaction can be brain fog. So one of my clients, they went gluten-free because one of their daughters was having some health trouble. And within a couple days, his brain fog cleared up. And he was like, I just thought that was life. Like, I just thought I was busy and my brain didn't work that well. And sure enough, he was having an inflammatory response in his brain because our gut is our second brain, and our brain and our gut are extremely connected. And gluten was triggering that. And so he has been able to think clearer and remember more, all because he jumped off gluten. My husband's gluten response is his immune system goes down, and it makes him absolutely susceptible to anything he comes in contact with. And so he will just get sick as a dog with like a chest cold or a head cold, and he won't be able to get over it. So it'll be 10, 12 days and like sick enough that he has to take off work. Now, we all know how guys get sick, they gotta take off work. I don't know, we don't get a day off, but anyway, just kidding. Yeah, so he would have an immune response, and it was so severe. And then my daughter has this standard reaction, which is bloating and digestive discomfort and diarrhea and all that nasty stuff. And so everybody's response is so different. So you may be having a gluten reaction and you may be getting back pain or knee pain, or you may be waking up stiff the next morning and you don't realize it. And so I just want to speak into that. And at the beginning of our challenge, when we started this 21 days, we talked about being intuitive and learning our bodies. And so just starting to make that connection. So anyway, again, I don't feel like everybody needs to eat gluten-free. I do think it would be better for everybody's health if they ate less gluten. Now, when I'm talking about less gluten, I am not talking about swapping all gluten products for gluten-free products. So I'm not talking about swapping gluten-free pasta for gluten pasta or the other way around. Like, that's just not healthy, because really gluten-free products they're not really that much healthier for you. Most of them, they're using like a potato starch or a brown rice flour or a white rice flour. And so really it's more carbohydrates and more starch and less fiber. Unless gluten is causing an inflammatory response in your body, it's really not necessarily, gluten-free products aren't necessarily better for you. If you are having a reaction, then absolutely you do not want to create more inflammation in your body if you don't have to. So one of the things you can do if you're curious about your body and how it's responding to gluten is you can pull off gluten for 6 weeks. And then after 6 weeks, you bring it back in. And you bring it back in 2 different ways. First, you bring it back in. You have like one small piece of bread on the first day. And then you take a day off and you give your body 48 hours to react to that. If you don't think you have a reaction, then you have gluten 3 days in a row. And that 3 days in a row will kind of show you if you have like a threshold. Because sometimes there will be, if it's an immune response, there will be a threshold that your body hits where it's like, all right, we've sent out all our white blood cells, we can do no more, and your immune system goes off. And so, again, it takes about 6 weeks. It actually, if you're sensitive to it, it can take up to a year to get out of your system. But 6 weeks is a good place to start. So you pull off gluten for 6 weeks, and then after the 6 weeks, you enter it back in and you see how your body responds. So if you're interested in doing that, and or you just want to go gluten-free because you know that gluten responds in your body, I wanted to share a few products that we found that we really love and some suggestions. So it's kind of important. Not really. I mean, you don't have to replace your bread. You can just go without. But bread makes life a little bit easier. And so finding a gluten-free bread is pretty important. And you've seen me talk about this brand before. This is Canyon Bakehouse. Our Costco carries it here. I know you can order it off online. We often will put in a bulk order when they do their deals and just keep it in the freezer. So good. So far, we have not run into anything from them that we don't like. And then we also have a local bakery here that we really love. It's called Outside the Bread Box. So it certainly might be worth exploring your local bakeries and seeing if anybody has their own thing, because they are really very good. Udi's, some people love it. I'm not a fan. I haven't met many people that are. That's the typical gluten-free that you find in the freezer section at most grocery stores. And let's see, as far as baking goes, Pamela's. Here, I'll show you the Pamela's brand. You'll see that kind of all over the place. We have yet to find one that we're disappointed in. We've used their white cakes for birthdays. We get their pancake mix off of Amazon. Their products are phenomenal, and so definitely never been disappointed with those. So that's another great brand. Trader Joe's has some really good gluten-free options. They have a gluten-free like pizza crust or flatbread where you get 2 for $5. And that's pretty awesome because gluten-free pizza is pretty subpar in most places. And that's nice to have on hand. So those are just a few. Enjoy Life is another really great company that's pretty allergy sensitive. They're usually gluten, soy, dairy, nut free. And we have enjoyed all their products as well. So there's definitely some good companies out there. So if you guys go to the grocery store and you want to know, hey, is this good? Let me know, snap a picture, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can, because we've been doing this for 7 years, and I can tell you, not every gluten-free product is delicious. And so I would love to help you save money, not waste money, and not try some of the not so great ones. Like we've got some flour in our freezer now that It's Krusty's, and if you want to make biscuits or cornbread, it's great. But everything tastes like a biscuit. And so, like, has that biscuit texture, and that's just not, I don't really want pancakes for you know, breakfast that taste like biscuits. Or we joke because whenever we make cookies with it, it's Kiskits because they are more biscuit-like. So yeah, anyway, there's lots of products out there. Please let me know if you have questions, or if you want more details on like how to go 6 weeks gluten-free just to see if your body responds. I would love to help you with that. And like I said, Trader Joe's actually has a red lentil pasta that's phenomenal. It's got like twice the protein of standard pasta, but it's gluten-free as well. So it's a great replacement, significantly healthier than just gluten-free pasta to regular pasta. So yeah, I hope this was informative. I hope it helps kind of break the myth that everybody should be gluten-free or gluten-free is just a fad. It's not. It really is. It really causes a ton of inflammation in most people's bodies, so it's not just a fad, but it also isn't necessarily healthier. You can go gluten-free healthier, but just swapping, you know, gluten-free cinnamon rolls for regular cinnamon rolls and whatever, vice versa, it's not healthier. And so it takes some intentionality. So if you have questions, please let me know. If you have questions about products, just do a post and I'll let you know if we've tried it and if it's any good, because we've tried a lot of them. So I'm proud of you guys. You have showed up this week and you've done outstanding, and I'm just so proud of you. So anyway, questions, ask, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your week.